anyone who knows me and they know about us,
Yes.
they know he's a perfectionist. I've never collected his socks anywhere in the house. If I would be wearing socks, I think he would be the one collecting my socks. But in our first years of marriage, that was an issue for me, and even for him, because we didn't have a house for the first 1 year until we got our first one.
Yes. There was no need.
There was no need, definitely. So he would come to the kitchen and cook, and by the time he's finishing cooking, everything else is clean. He puts the food even in the plate and washes the sufurias. So it's only the plate that is dirty. Turn things around.
I imagine how that is for you as a woman if you're not that kind of a person, because then you'll always feel like, am I not doing what I'm supposed to do? How about if my friends come in and find that my hubby is the one doing this? Sometimes you feel like it's going to paint a different picture to people who come to visit you and they see that. Because if you were just relaxing, like right now people have taken their water, then he gets up and he wants to clear the glasses.
He does that every time.
And he was seated.
That's what I think what is happening.
He does that even take a broom and come sweep.
Eric, is that how you were brought up, or it's a way that you show love?
And you bring in the third element that I think it's good to bring out there, that you are a product of nature and nurture. I think one of the things we came to discover is that how you are brought up also define how you become as well. And rightly so, that is an upbringing product. It's not something that I say now I want to make it like this. Because I have a parent, my mother to be specific, who made sure that that is the way to grow. So if you don't remove your place, then that the consequences were there. So bring that into our blood, then we came to realize this is how life should be. But even saying that, as she mentioned, we came to learn that it could be we could turn that into a positive. And I think that's the complementary aspect that has come to our life by now understanding different love languages that come from each other. So I know this is not a punishment that I'm doing this to punish her, or she's not doing that because she doesn't want to. Then I say, let me now compliment the other good things she's good at. You know, very nice lady to talk to, as she mentioned on the complementary side. Men don't talk, women talk. Now, as is the opposite. So if I want someone to listen to me, she doesn't talk, me I talk. So you could find us, we change the narrative of what marriage is. And that's the stereotype that is bringing also from the cross-cultural, but also in terms of the marriage, you can never define it from one level to the other. And that's what we see it rolling more or less in our marriage life.
So she's the quiet one and you're the one who talks.
In our level.
Yes.
But I think people outside there at times think I talk also. But
I think it depends on how you relate. You know, people who just know you from afar will say, oh, she's very quiet. But people who are really, who get really personal with you can say, who? Rahab, she talks. You know? It just depends on how you relate and how far you tread with guys. So the 8 years, sometimes the first 1 or 3 is such a headache and you are like, oh my goodness, who is this that came into my space? Did you ever have such kinds of moments, Rahab?
Definitely, yes. There are always those, and actually it's small things, and that is one example of where when he comes to the kitchen, he comes and removes all the containers that he thinks I'm not using, and I'm using them. I think he
wants to declutter the woman's space.
Exactly. And then something to do with his personality. As a perfectionist, he's very keen on very small details. I enjoy life. I'm not keen on very small details. So merging those two personalities together took us a little bit of time, and we got our firstborn. No, the gap between the firstborn and the secondborn is less than 12 months. So
and that happens a lot. That happens a lot. Is it that someone doesn't tell us? I don't know. Anyway.
No, our firstborn celebrated her first birthday when the second one is 2 weeks or 3 weeks old.
Yeah.
And we've never had a sleeping house girl. So I think bringing those three things together put some pressure on both of us that because of his level of cleanliness, I think that is what really stands out for him. And I have 2 children on this side. I'm still working because I became a stay-at-home mom. I think like 2 years ago. It's not been like forever. Like 2 years ago. Puts pressure on us. But I think what was a bit working for us is the fact that we didn't have a staying house help. We had to cross paths like every other time. And he was very supportive, by the way, with bringing up the children. Like at any point, he was ready to change the diapers. He was ready to wash them, as in take care of them.
Wow.
So I think he complimented me in a major way.
That's not what a lot of men do, you know. A lot of men consider that as the woman's gig and they don't want to be part of it. And if you are not getting up to that standard, then you're not woman enough. You know, they start now comparing with you with their mothers who are able to multi and even triple task, going to the farm and coming from the farm at 10 and at 12 they get the baby, you know, she's just delivered, and in the evening she's making her own food and her house is clean. There was nothing like house helps those days, and she was managing everything, you know. So sometimes they find themselves in a space where they want to compare you with their mommies those days, forgetting that a lot of things have changed and that you are not their mummies. Neither are you their sister who was brought up in that same house, you know. So if you find someone who understands that and is able to practically apply it, I mean, it's commendable.
That's true. That's true. And I think that's the secret that many have not discovered. If I could go into the biblical proportion, the secret lies in the book of 1 Peter 3:7. And that's, I think, for me, it's the secret in terms of success. Because if you treat your woman as men, you treat your woman as with understanding and a vessel that she needs and honor, then it talks about then your prayer might not be hindered. So many of us, we keep on praying for things to be done for us, but you don't know that maybe how you treat your woman. I'm not saying this who I am 100%. I don't want to present a picture of a perfect macho man who is a superhero in our life. But I think looking at it from fulfilling a responsibility that is higher than you. I mean, this, if you look at it, the house is for both of you. No one is being paid to do their role. So you have to do your 100%. And if my 100% is complementing 100%, then it makes work easier. So it's something that you have to do for the purposes, fulfill the scripture, if it's difficult to do it as a cultural. And that brings us to the point where we talk about upbringing and cultural ways. People try to defend themselves. This is my personality. This is how I was brought as a man. This is how we were taught. We even went to conferences every year about men, to how to treat young men. But for me, it goes back to the living and cleaving aspect of life. Actually, Billy, did you know it is 60 times that is mentioned in the Bible? So if what does it mean to live and to cleave? I mean, it's a new culture you need to set. So if you are brought up with in a home where men are to sit and watch news or wrestling as it were by then the woman is to go to the kitchen, or even vice versa, because you also know there are homes that the women were brought up in a nice sort of a way, so everything was done for them. Then you are married, then you come to a house, is the husband to do stuff and you, or the house help to do, and you as a wife you sit. But I think the definition will come in more when people realize you have to set your own culture that works best for you.
And that culture is live and cleave. So you must define what is this live and cleave instead of hanging on how you were brought up and giving excuses on your personality. Because these are the things that kills marriages. You know, I wonder how people are so much in love today, and the next week they don't want to see each other, they don't want to touch each other, you know, and they want to quit. They're looking for the next exit door out of this four-corner, you know, walled room. So, and that exit door, they think of, you know, we said I do until death. This person hasn't died. And to some, they even go to the extent of now, you know, pushing for means and ways of having you dead so that they can exit. And there's a lot of pretense in the families and in the marriages today. And people are living together as partners or roommates. And nothing is actually going on in the name of marriage in those homes. I wonder how you have managed. You mentioned that the first, you know, couple of years when you started, of course you had challenges like many marriages do. But when I heard you in your statement, it seemed like a thing of the past.
True.
There's a scripture, now that you talked about Bible, you know, where Jesus actually paid for sins once and for all. I don't know if you have ever read that, but it actually does exist. If you task me, I will show you where. So once and for all, that sin problem Jesus dealt with, and he said it is finished. In marriage, did you guys have problems growing up in your 8 years? I know you still have time, but growing up, did you have those things that you also nailed and said, this one, it is finished? Because a lot of couples have this back and forth on the same thing. They are conversing and talking over this. Whenever they have a board meeting, if they ever have in their family, it is always there. Yes. Do you have such kinds of dealings?
I'll start from one of the, I think some of the foundations we laid when we were marrying have really helped us to deal with issues as they come up. I'm happy that for the 8 years, I don't think we've ever slept 24 hours without talking to each other.
Okay.
You know, like, I'm not saying we're always at the peak laughing.
Even if it is fighting.
Yes, even if it is fighting or changing the subject and talking about something totally different from what we are fighting over, our communication is always there. It's always there. Because I think most of the things die at the communication level. Number two is that we serve in church together in the same ministry. And given that we don't have a house, we are always carrying our babies along. We go to care ministries for married people where you went out. So you are able to, and these meetings are normally monthly. And at some point we were overseeing like 4 groups. So we, like every Sunday, would have a different care group. So every time you at least have a chance to talk about something, and it seems as a hero, you are not now putting so much light on the weakness, but you're putting more light into what are you strong in. Unfortunately, there is still one that probably this will, because we are still married, this will work on it as like long as we as long as we are alive. He's someone who likes talking. He has said that. I don't like talking too much. So when I talk, I give headlines, and you know, I don't go into so many details.
He's the one who will come and say the bride was wearing white shoes with golden flowers. But he just was a bride.
Actually.
For me, that was a bride. So honestly, that is one thing I've not been able to achieve, to give something into too much details. Unless he asks questions, then I'm able now to say, no, what you're saying now is what you would have started with. For me, that was not part, it was not important for me.
Do you find that a trouble, or it's an interesting thing? Because if you are the one who's like that, and you found a spouse who's like that, To me, I think that house would be so quiet and so boring. And every time someone talks to you, you think like they are troubling you. Do you feel like his talking makes your house fun?
Very
it's
fun.
a trouble?
No, for me it's not a trouble. No, it's not a trouble. Even the kids laugh because he plays with the children. I don't have the energy to play with the children. It is fun for us. It is fun for us. Him talking, giving me all the details. I wish I could do the same, but it doesn't flow from.
It's not just you. Yes, so he said there's a new culture. Live and clean. Bury your personality. I hope you get there one day. Eric.
We will get there. I tell you, there is the second one that is still, the first 3 years was, as you mentioned, I wouldn't want to specify 3 years or so, but still we're in the process.
Yes.
Maybe I could define our marriage, we are more or less now in the discovery stage, where now we understand each other. I'm still hoping a point where we can finish each other's statement. But then there is a question whereby do we look at things that still come and follow us? Of course, she's mentioned one of them. And on my side, I think also the word of affirmation. I think that's something we keep on promising. It comes on. Hey, she cooks and she's a good cook. We started with chapati, for example, on top. But then you find my children are quick to say, Mom, today the food is good. To me, it's still... I hate and went, and those simple sort of affirmation still I think is a point of improvement in our marriage. But we've learned one thing, and this is something that I will say has helped us a lot. She's mentioned it in a nutshell, the communication. 7 ways to keep marriage work for us was been 7 things, and that has been communication, 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 communication. We don't want to always attach things, because there are periods when we've kept quiet, which always happens in marriage. We will be quiet with each other, but then that's the point where we get a lot of things. I start thinking bad things about her, the negative things that she's always doing wrong. Yes. But the moment we keep on talking, we've always find a way out to go this.
You know, people talk, Eric. Actually, people talk. It's not that people do not talk, but as they talk, they find themselves talking about the same things over and over again. Correct. If you're going to tell her about salt, she's still going to put more salt the next time. Correct. So your interpretation would be, she doesn't listen to me, she doesn't respect me, and you carry it in that way. So you feel like if you're going to talk about it a couple of more times, then you're like, it's too much, let me just let her do what she wants until she's done with it.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's how people, the small things that you mentioned, and also affirmations. Your affirmation is on my food, was the food delicious, but there are people whose affirmations is on very big things. Very big things. That is, for some people, that is, you don't have to say that. That is like obvious. You saying it or not saying it is not a big deal. But there are big things where someone needs the affirmation, like her being a cook. You're not going to wake up one day and say, man, I think I need a lady from my tribe. And you're also not troubled saying, one day I will just get home with this woman after my retirement, and she will say she can't stand this community. There are those things that keep on coming, and you must find a way to deal and give that assurance and that affirmation. Otherwise, the small things like food, a lot of people just eat and they never even say thank you. You drop a gift and it's like, oh, it looks nice. And you're expecting more and it doesn't come. We always have expectations.
Correct.
So I wonder how it is for you. It sounds to me like you guys are managing so well and dealing really well. And you don't have those back and forths of, hey, I said this,
I think the reason why at times people stagnate at back and forth is when you put so much light on the weakness and raising your expectations too high, you'd rather do it the other way around.
Correct.
Reduce your expectations, illuminate the strength points. Because, I always say, I found him when he's an adult. It is easy for me to work on my child who is 5 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old,
than him
for a change of behavior.
Yes.
But for him, honestly, I don't think I would put so much energy into that. So I would rather look at what is he good at and work with that. If the bad is not fatal, you know, it's not causing my life. So honestly, I would rather not focus on that completely. If he's, as a husband and as a father, is he a good father? Yes. Is he providing for the family? Yes. What are his plans, his visions? Is he a faithful husband? I think those ones I tick correct, like it's very automatic. So these small things of him not telling me I'm smartly dressed, he hasn't even today. It is okay. I would love that.
You'd love to hear.
I would love to hear that. But him not saying doesn't make me any ugly. I'm still very beautiful and smart. So I would look at what are the main things that I would look at for a husband, for a father. Is he doing that? Yes. So the rest, let me not focus on them because they will always show up.
You just choose to wink.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to listen to what Eric has to say on those issues that are still there in this life as a journey. 8 years is a short time. I hope you stay tuned. Coming back shortly.
Echo Music right here on your #1 TV station, GBS TV. My good name is Hypola the Experience. You can call me Moja Safi. Kumazel, the best TV ever. Lafu Shoni Gani, Echo Music, SMS line 21144.
Tunakuchezea zile ngoma mpya zenye zimekuwa zikitokea hii wiki.
Anytime ulizia vila God nikulia na wakinigeuzia I know you got me God, yeah you got me God. Kautamu nikisa maneno nasikia kautamu akiwa nauliza gospel imedu bisa CMC we have to do. So Bible now we hand, so we physically, spiritually, lyrically, mentally.
Leo manze tuko na wasanii wa Delhi ndani ya nyumba. Tuko na muziki kali, tuko na countdown kali. Yaani kila kitu leo iko fresh. Chukua sharubati, hiyo ni juice hapo. Weka mguju ya meza.
Triple. Tumia mtu salamu pale mali unakulanga chapo dondo.
Nani mimi? Walifunga.
This is Talk to Rosemary Njage Show. I am your host, Rosemary Njage. This is a place where we host different choirs, different praise and worships, different bands, different worshipers. We are so much blessed.
There is a God in heaven.
There is a God in heaven who answers all of our prayers.
Your talents and your gifting shall open doors.
But I'm going to do this, dedicating it to Christ. And that's how I wrote Nachotaka.
Haja ya moyo wangu, Yesu. Haja ya moyo wangu.
How do you go about composition of your music?
Everything that I sing inakuwa ni my life.
Neema yako Yesu, Baba yanitosha. Nikiwa nawe mimi niko huru.
Yale umetenda Baba, yote ni makuu.
There are many problems in Kenya. Who is to blame? Is there hope for sanity? What is even sanity in the first place? GBS TV brings you the Insight Show, dissecting on politics, governance, justice system, education, economy, amongst myriad of current affairs. Join Eugene Ochieng and his panelists every Friday from 9 p.m. here on GBS TV in the analysis of issues affecting you.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewer. Here is Eric and Rehab sharing their love story. Eric, what have been the challenges that you have had in these 8 years? When I listen to you, you seem to have gotten a balance and pushed away or overcome many struggles. How was that possible for you? Did you have to go to school to learn? Did you have to, put a wall around just between the two of you and no relative comes in? How do you manage? Because a lot of these things happen because of interferences from outside. Correct. People get married with very good intentions, but as soon as we know what's happening, now we want to start checking. She only has daughters, and you need a son, and so many things. And where do you live, and where does he work, and all these things. Yes, how have you managed to build?
Betty, thank you for that good question. Want to be where we are, and we are still having a journey, trusting God that it will be fine. It's not been easy to say it, the truth, in the sense that we had to find a place to strike. In the beginning, we used to differ a lot, especially as you mentioned, we are a total of 2 different personalities, 2 different cultures and upbringing. And one set of point, taking it from my side, I came with a lot of criticism in my marriage. And this was coming because of comparison. I've seen in a movie somewhere, a woman is working perfect, or I've seen in a friend's home. So you want to replicate that in your house. So I used to put a lot of pressure in this young lady to a point in which I don't see the good she's done. I see the worst she's done. So if the food was sweet, but I tend to look at the sour part of the food. And that brings a lot of questions, and we reach a point where I remember one day she said, Eric, if you're expecting me to be what you want me to be, then you be that person. Now, I can't change myself to be a woman at the same sense. And very quiet lady, but when she speaks in terms of anger, I had to keep quiet. So my 4 months of communication has to be crashing in 1 month in not talking. And that's the point where I realized if I continue the way I'm going on, I will destroy our good morals by turning her into something she's not. So I destroy the good part and make that. So it took maturity, to come to realize that there's no statue that will direct it for me for being a critical husband. But the best I can be given is being a supportive husband. And that's where I think was one of the turning points. But above that, we realized our marriage was built on prayers. As they always say, a nice billboard, that what is gotten through prayer has to be sustained by prayer. We had to come to a point of level of seeking prayer to come involved. And I think that's also helped us a lot to look at things now from that angle. Knowing that she's a daughter of a God who is powerful. So when I have trouble with her, I have to consult who is the maker. So that then that will tell me what to do and to deal with that. And it has taken a number of years, 5 years more or less, to come to the discovery stage and saying that the first thing to do is look things from the inward. How have I contributed as Eric to the situation she is in? When we quarrel most of the time, which we do as a couple, is to seek and ask, how have I contributed to it and how can I get us out from there? Expectation also. I came into my marriage with a lot of expectations. And this I was carrying in, I'm expecting a woman when I arrive at the door, my coat is being removed, or my jacket is being removed, welcome my king. What do we give you this morning?
It's still in the pipeline. Let me take you to the children.
I know I'm married all inclusive. Where you have the little ribbon in the hands that when you come into your house, there's a juice that is waiting at you at the door, the shoes are removed, then do you want a massage, a Taiwan or a hot massage?
Yes.
So, and literally that is the truth, because you are coming in with that talk we always have as men out there, that a woman is to treat you like this.
And talk to you in this way.
In this way. So when she raised her voice to me, I used to think, wait a minute, something is being changed. My position is being taken as a man. But Betty, in summary, it took a society to build that. She's mentioned we are in groups of people who culture us. We exchange ideas to mold us. And this is very important for couples to learn because that also helps us.
Wow.
When you go into a fellowship of people who are married, you realize that what you're going through is not unique. And also you get ideas of how to deal, for example, my criticism nature, being trying to be detailed in things like she's mentioned. I used to go into the kitchen a lot. And at some point I realized I'm going to kick her out of the house literally because I'm cleaning the bedroom, I'm cleaning the sitting room, I'm cleaning. So I keep on going to the kitchen, hey, the glass is broken, why don't you? So I realized, no, I'm stepping into something that is, not that is wrong because the house belongs to both of us, but I think it's also giving her space to outshine in what she's good at. So in simple terms, it took her wrath to correct me. It took prayer for us to also come to a point where we are still working on building each other, but also just to lower expectations in terms of if I expected something else, let me accommodate what God has given me and thank God for that. And it has turned out to be a perfect.
You accommodate what you chose because it's God you chose.
So that I prayed for you to come. So you came in like an angel. Wrap and shaken together. And then I think
but also, I've put effort into meeting his standards. If it's that cooking, I wasn't a very good cook. That is the truth. My chapatis were close shapeless, very hard.
You can be slapped with it and it will break like a ceramic plate.
He could even suggest so many ways of making the chapatis to be solved. So I had to put effort into upgrading myself so that at least I meet him at where he feels a bit comfortable. I think I've really tried to do that. If you talk about making the house neat, and you see when we cook, some people cook and then once everything has been finished, that's when you wash the dishes. It's not that you leave them there like forever. So I've also learned when I'm cooking, I also wash the dishes. By the time ninamaliza, pia vyombo ni safi.
Wow. So there's a couple I hosted once, and one of the things I heard them say is that, they say two shall become one. If you add 1 to 1, then it's 2, So, but for you to get 1, it's half plus half. So it means half of you have to surrender. Yes, it's true. And the man also has to let go of his half. So that half makes one, But if you're going to insist on, this is me, I don't know how to cook, this is how you found me, take me or leave me, then you lose, actually. Then you cannot become one. You remain as two.
Yeah.
So what are the things that have kept you together? You already mentioned that you had to lower your expectations, and there had to be a lot of prayer, and there had to be people, support teams involved to make it work, What are the things that you have done, Rehab, to just ensure that I am still here, comfortable and peaceful, and it is until death?
One of the things is to accept, in terms of career, I had to pause my ambitions career-wise because he was traveling a lot and children were starting school. We had just built a home, we had relocated. So some of the things is putting a pause on what I would have gone for, and so that I'm able to give him the peace of mind when he travels. Is everything okay back at home?
Okay.
That is number one. 2, as I've said, is to also improve on myself on the things that he expects as a husband and as a father.
Wow.
I think I've put a lot of effort in improving myself.
Yeah. People say marriage it's hard work.
It's true.
Yeah.
So I had to come out of my comfort zone as it is and work on myself to give him the comfort he desires. The other thing is transparency. Things to do with finances. I think that's where even most people have a problem with.
Yes.
When we were starting, as he mentioned, okay, he got a job when we were still dating. So by the time we were actually doing our wedding, he got a job, but not so well paying, which actually, but just before we got our firstborn, he quit. he was tired. He quit his job. But anyway, God opened another door. Tukiwa kwa hospitali, actually, when we were in hospital and paying the bills, God opened another door. So transparency, so that any other time, he knows how much I have, I know how much he has. So I can't put pressure on him on what he does not have.
Wow. Eric, do you ever feel, we have less than 5 minutes to go, but do you ever feel like one time, if your position changes, not in terms of being at home, but in terms of, career and what you earn, if you would get low financially and stability in terms of being unable to provide as you do, and taking your children to the schools that she desires, have you ever felt some insecurity, like she could just say, yes, because people have accused women who come from Central that they stay and cleave because of the money, because of what you have. As long as life is comfortable, she will be there. Have you ever had such kinds of fears?
Maybe in one of the nightmares, but on a practical sense, on a practical sense, I have a peace of mind and comfort. And but you know why I'm saying this? Is that this young lady paid for my help when I didn't have money. So I've seen her literally give in for me when I have none. And that has given me the comfort that she can still go ahead even when I'm incapacitated, or even in what circumstances I've lost the job. Then the second element is the vision that you all together as a family. Why I'm saying this is because we believe in one thing, that the Lord can use any means possible. Even our children can be talented today, that as we are sitting home, and they're the source of income for us through their talent. So we believe God can use either of us. It's just at this time, it is my time that the Lord is using as a vessel to provide for my family. Tomorrow, God can decide, Eric, now you rest. Let your wife be the provider.
Wow.
And I'm saying this because it's in her character. Because I know this may not apply to most of the situations.
Yes.
But also the thing that has also helped make me have this confidence is the way we've dealt with the third party sort of an arrangement. We've created a boundary within ourselves that we've not allowed the society, the friends, the family defines what we are. I can tell you, Betty, the pressure that many of us, men or women also on the other side have is because of you. I saw this person doing this to his wife.
Exactly.
Or I see the woman who left the husband when. So you want to replicate the same. But for us, because of the boundary we've set around ourselves, has given me the comfort that in a worst case event, she will got my back. And as I mentioned, this doesn't come overnight, but it's a choice you have. And marriage is an enrichment that has taught me one thing. You get what you work for. If you want to work for good things, you have to work for it.
You have to get them.
I think what I probably can add, I think he has not sugarcoated. His peace of mind, he's able to thrive more if he's at peace. So if he's transparent with me, with what he's getting, then for me it's a choice that I can't ask for more than that. And because I know he's hardworking, I know currently that's where we are at. So intentionally, I can't ask for more than what we have. I think we've put emphasis on, we are not living for the society at any point in this world.
Yes.
If we are living large, it is because we want large. If we are living small, it's because we want small. Yes.
Wow. It's time for the viewers to listen to what your parting shots are. I can imagine those that are watching, and for them it's not working at all, especially when it's cross-cultural, and they have the mentality that it is these people who come from this place, it is these guys who come from this place, and they are asking, how about the safety of your children? What measures have you put for the future? And these things always come. And when there's a miscommunication, when there's a disagreement, we quickly run back to just that one thing. The people who have tuned in and they're listening, and I know they have such kinds of fears, you could speak to them in less than a minute each.
The home is built by two people because it's God ordained the two people to build the home. And it thrives more when the head takes the lead. And for me, I think I would plead with the husbands to take the lead, to put the boundaries, because ours has worked more because my husband, I think, has put the best boundaries. He has really protected me from any third parties. So husbands, please take your lead where you're struggling. I think God has given you the grace. When you take up the mantle, the chances of you winning are very high, very high. So please, husbands, men, take your lead. And wives, give them the space.
Yeah. Right.
Betty, thank you. For me, it will be more of a parting shot sense where to encourage people. Marriage is not easy, but if you put your work to it, it will work. Don't throw in the towel because of one or two disagreements. Two, don't compare your marriage with someone else. The two of you met, agreed to love one another, and love is actually a choice, it's not a feeling. So choose to love each other, even in the worst. I know we're in a pandemic where many people have lost job. Don't use finance to define love. It can never be, because tomorrow you can always get back that money. But if your child is going to live the rest of their life because of a split family, then you are destroying a generation barely because of what is happening at the moment. So I'll encourage couples, stick together, work together in whatever circumstances it is, but of course put prayer first. And don't allow the society in terms of the peer pressure from the social media or what we get out here. And third, please get a wing to hold on to. You need a support structure. With this journey, you need people to work with. So if you can get into a couple group or a fellowship that you find will enrich your marriage, please do so. Because it's a journey that you cannot walk the two of you together. You need some people to support you to do. But overall, stick together. It will come better at some point.
Wow. Excellent and well put. It was really a great pleasure to host you guys and to listen to your true story of love. I wish you the very best. 8 years is not a short time, and 8 years is also yet another long way to go. I wish you all the best and God's grace.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you also, viewer, for watching Eric and Rahab's story. I hope you enjoyed it. You have some take home to do and also practice one thing that you have learned from them. It has been such a good time. My name is Betty. See you next time.
Echo Mziki right here on your #1 TV station, GBS TV. My good name